Hey, bonjour class. How you guys doing today? Here we are with French 1, Lesson 4A. Quelle heure est-il? Looking at the pictures, looking at the word quelle heure est-il, what do you think we're talking about? Telling time. Let's get to it. Ok, très bien classe. Quelle heure est-il ici? Dans les photos, on a beaucoup d'horloges, lots of clocks, clocky faces to tell the time. And I realize in starting this lesson that a lot of us don't think about telling time that much because you just look at your phone, you look at a clock on the stove, it's digital, you don't have to think about what does it mean to tell time on the clock. But I am going to go over that with you because it's important to learn how to tell time on an analog clock, that's the round clocky face, rather than a digital clock, in order to understand how the French picture the concept of time, and a little bit about what we do in the United States as well. So we are going to be working with actual clock faces, and we'll be reviewing numbers. Here come your favorite numbers again, so that you can be good at telling time in all different ways and in 2 languages. Let's get started with the way that they say the time in French. So when someone asks that question, quelle heure est-il? What time is it? Or literally, what hour is it? You answer by saying, il est, it is. Il est une heure. Une heure means 1 o'clock, right? Il est 2 heures. 2 heures means 2 o'clock. And I want to point something out to you with the word heure right here. Une heure, n'est-ce pas? There we go. Just ends with an E, but when you say 2 heures, it ends with an S because now it's more than 1 hour. 2 hours, n'est-ce pas? This is taking the place of the word o'clock, which is what we would say in English, and it just means hours. 3 heures, 4 heures, 5 heures, 6 heures. Notice when I pronounce these, I'm forming what's called a liaison between the word here, the number, and the word heure. Because even though there's a letter H, they don't pronounce the H in French. It is a non-aspirated H. It doesn't go huh. It's just nothing, really. Une heure. 2 heures. So I connect these together. 3 heures, kind of a Z sound when I say that. 4 heures, get your good French R. 5 heures. 5 heures. 6 heures, there's that Z sound again. Over here, 7 heures, 8 heures, so you're saying the T. 9 heures, this makes a V sound. 9 heures. 10 heures, 11 heures. So we've gone from 1 o'clock, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 11. When you get to 12, you could say 12 heures. But honestly, that sounds a lot like 2 heures. And so to avoid confusion, the best thing to say is either midi, which literally means midday, but we would say noon, or minuit. Do you see the word nuit here? Kind of looks like the word night, and this means midnight. Très bien, class. Those are the basics of telling time, but what happens if you get into a little more detail? Well, first of all, we have 3 times of day that we generally talk about. Du matin, in the morning. Il est 3 heures du matin. That would be 3 a.m., 3 in the morning. They don't use the concept of a.m. and p.m. in French, so you would say du matin or de l'après-midi, afternoon. Il est 3 heures de l'après-midi. That's right when school's out. Or du soir. Il est 6 heures du soir. 6 o'clock at night, to differentiate between 6 heures du matin when you're waking up. So here are a few clock faces to practice with. À quelle heure est la fête? La fête is the party. What time is the party? La fête est à 8 heures. All right, class, quick review. This hand right here, the long hand or the big hand, tells the time of the minute. And this short hand tells the time of the hour. So when you look at this big hand, it tells you how many minutes into the hour we are. Right here, we're right exactly on the hour. Il est 8 heures. And there's the hour. So the long hand, once again, is the minute hand, and the short hand is the hour hand. And I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, just making sure we can all tell time on a clocky face. À quelle heure est la classe de biologie? La classe est à 10h30. Okay, so we know 10 heures, so that's where our shorthand is going to point towards 10. 10 heures. Et demi, this word demi means half. So half past 10 or 10:30. 10h30. So the minute hand points down here to 30 minutes. Très bien. Classe, à quelle heure est le dîner? Le dîner est à 6h15. So 6h we know. So the hour hand, the short hand, is going to be pointing towards the 6. A quart. What does this word kind of look like to you? Like quarter? Remember up here, et demi was half. A quart is a quarter. So what's quarter after 6? 6:15. So the minute hand is going to be right there because that's 15 minutes. 5, 10, 15 minutes. Each of these little increments is 5 minutes on the clock. And if you knew that before, don't feel insulted. And if you didn't, you just learned something. Finally, j'ai un rendez-vous. J'ai un rendez-vous à 3h moins le quart. So now what would that be? We know that quart right here means quarter. And we know that 3h is 3 o'clock. But there is this word right here, moins le quart, which is different. Up here it said a quart. Here it says moins le quart. Well, class, that means minus. So when the French say 3h moins le quart, they say it's almost 3 o'clock minus a quarter. We would say quarter to 3. They say 3 minus a quarter, or 2:45, right? Or 15 minutes to 3. So there are different ways to say it. But what that looks like on the clock face is going to be this. I have to erase this one because I only have 3. I didn't have room for 4. It looks like there's a 4th one hiding off on the side. Somehow that got missed. Anyway, it is almost 3 o'clock, so I'm going to put our shorthand, the hour hand, close to 3 o'clock because it's not quite 3. And then the long hand goes here because quarter to 3. This is moins le quart in French, moins le quart. And if you think about the clock being divided into fourths like a pie, every 15 minutes is another quarter. All right, basic concepts. We're going to keep talking about this in class, but good to get you started with telling time. So these are the main takeaways from that last part. A quart means quarter after or 15 minutes after. A demi is half past, or 6:30. Moins le quart is quarter to, or 45, right? 2:45 is quarter to 3. 3h moins le quart. And then moins any number. You can say moins 10 if it's 10 minutes to something. Moins 5 if it's 5 minutes to something. You can say moins 20 if it's 20 minutes to something. So each of these, you can use that word moins to say it's almost there, minus this much time. Super bien. Class, the last thing for our video today is just taking a look one more time at the clocky face and remembering that when you see the long hand, oh, that was a terrible, not very straight, madame. Anyway, this ticks away the minutes. So here we have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20, 25, 30. Because how many minutes are there in an hour? 60, right? So here's 35. Here is 40. Here is 45, 50, and 55, and then we're back to the next hour. And every time this long hand is up at the 12, that's right on the hour. In French, 1 heure, 2 heures, 3 heures, 4 heures, 5 heures, 6 heures, 7 heures, 8 heures, 9 heures, 10 heures, 11 heures. Voila, isn't that beautiful? Oh, and let's not forget midi and minuit. Ta-da! Now, if you've made it this far, this is your chance to earn some extra credit with Madame. If you didn't watch my video this far, oh, how sad, you missed out on this extra credit opportunity. There will be more in the future, but for now, let's take a look at the clock. And I'm erasing these little supplemental numbers, but I'm going to put 3 different times up and ask you, quelle heure est-il? And if you can respond to me, oops, there we go, in French via email. Make sure it's a private email. Don't just post it in Google Classroom, because then no one else will be able to get the extra credit, because it's supposed to be a surprise. All right? Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 times, and you tell me what time it is en français via email. You got it? Super bien. Class, here we go. Zoop. Zoop. Class, quelle heure est-il? Quelle heure est-il? Okay, that's the first one. Take as much time as you need. It's a video. You can pause it, you can rewind it, and go back and learn how to tell time again. Here's the next one. Zoop. Zoop. Class, quelle heure est-il? And just so that we're all on the same page, my lines are not very precise, are they? I want this line to be exactly here, okay? And then this one's right about here. Quelle heure est-il? And one more. Let's see if we can get this one. Sorry, that's not very straight. Oh, both of them, the minute hand and the hour hand, are pointing to the same spot. Quelle heure est-il? Super bien. Class, that is it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I am really looking forward to seeing you in class. It's been a while. We had a nice break. So let's get back to it, shall we? À bientôt et au revoir.